Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, by now, you all probably heard the big news, but in case you haven't, in the most recent 343 blog post about Halo MCC, they announced that MCC will soon be getting a lot of new content like new armors for Halo 2 Anniversary. There were a bunch of other cool features announced too that are coming soon, but one thing in particular has caused a bit of an uproar in the Halo community lately. That thing is that microtransactions could be coming to Halo MCC soon. Here is exactly what 343 said about that announcement. For players who are new to the MCC or who may not have dedicated much time specifically to unlocking items during the seasonal updates, or are simply completionists looking to catch the last outstanding items they need, we are internally exploring a potential new feature for the future in the form of purchasable Spartan points. That is the replacement for season points. It is prudent to note here that we are happy with the current system of how players earn Spartan points by completing challenges and leveling up through play. This would be an optional, additive alternative for players who might find the vast scope of content to be an intimidating amount of playtime and want to get ahead on or skip the grind. Or maybe want to grab specific items they want. We all have our favorites. In the interest of transparency with our dedicated and passionate community, we wanted to inform you of this exploration in advance and provide assurance that purchasable Spartan points would be an additive feature. We will have more information to share about this in the future. This announcement, understandably, has had some people concerned, even angry. But I think the announcement really isn't as bad as it sounds. Now, just to be clear, that doesn't mean I'm saying microtransactions are good, nor am I advocating for microtransactions to be added into Halo games. The goal of this video is to clarify what this proposed system could mean for MCC and the players as well. I also want to talk about the possible best paths forward regarding this news. So with that in mind, let's get into the details and what this could mean for you. So given the state of Halo Infinite right now and how heavily monetized it is with microtransactions that aren't cheap either, Halo fans are understandably upset and nervous about Halo MCC becoming something like Halo Infinite. You see, when Halo MCC first came out, it was so broken and virtually unplayable online. But 343 eventually fixed up much of MCC and added brand new content too. The new content they added was in the form of a battle pass, but it was totally free. All of it could be unlocked for free by completing challenges and earning free season points, now called Spartan points, to use for the battle pass. MCC was supposed to be the model for Halo Infinite, not the other way around. So I can definitely understand where upset fans are coming from. With how 343 has handled microtransactions on Halo Infinite, it's a scary thought that MCC, with all its promised free content, is suddenly going to change. But this announcement isn't really a bad thing, like I said, at least not as bad as it sounds. For starters, 343 only said that these microtransactions would just be purchasable Spartan points intended for new MCC players or players that are behind and just want to catch up quickly. The current system of unlocking cosmetics will still be in place. They're not changing it to be like Halo Infinite, where you have to pay a lot for individual pieces of armor, or for the same weapon skin multiple times for each weapon. All you'd have the option of buying on MCC is just the Spartan points to unlock things the way you normally would on MCC. Essentially, this is just entirely optional, and by keeping the current system the same, it just means the microtransactions are purely a paid booster of sorts. That's a far cry from Halo Infinite's more direct purchasing system. It's kind of similar to premium currencies in other games with microtransactions, except the big difference is that there's nothing locked behind a premium currency paywall. You'd still be earning Spartan points normally through challenges, as you always have been, but for those who don't have time to grind through 8 seasons worth of content, this is just simply a way for them to progress faster. Of course, this is just a preliminary announcement, so we don't know every single specific detail yet. Plans can indeed change still. I personally feel that just simply having the option to buy Spartan points available for MCC and nothing else changed is fine. Not really a big deal. A lot of people who have been playing MCC for a while and unlocked things regularly probably already have a lot of points saved up anyways, so this really won't affect those people. But there certainly are things 343 can do to make sure players, especially new players, don't feel pressured to have to spend money just to avoid grinding MCC challenges for a year. For starters, they can make Spartan points easier to earn. They can do this by adding a greater variety of challenges and more frequently too. Perhaps having some daily challenges and monthly challenges would help a lot as well. And also, we need more double XP or double Spartan point weekends. We've had like 1 or 2 since the whole progression system was launched for MCC. One final thing I can think of is letting people earn Spartan points each time they level up. As it currently stands, once you reach a certain rank on MCC, you will stop earning Spartan points each time you level up in multiplayer. That cap should definitely be removed, and if it does get removed, people who have already passed that cap before should be retroactively granted season points or Spartan points equal to the number of levels they've ranked up since passing that cap. All of these things I feel would go a long way to helping players earn Spartan points faster and easier, all without pressuring them into having to spend money for Spartan points. If there's anything else you think that could help, feel free to post your ideas and suggestions in the comments below. I'm sure 343 is going to be listening very carefully to the community on this while they figure out their plans to potentially implement the system. The final thing that would help make these microtransactions reasonable and more acceptable to the community would be to make sure, of course, that they're priced reasonably. To be honest, I'm not entirely sure what would be a fair price to everyone, but maybe something like $5 to $10 for 100 season points could be reasonable. That would mean it costs roughly $40 to $80 to unlock all the current seasons, assuming you start fresh on MCC and haven't played anything at all. So maybe that's reasonable, but I don't know. Just let me know your thoughts on that as well. But one thing to consider though right now is that Microsoft is pretty much all in with Halo Infinite. The fact that they're actively supporting 2 Halo games at the same time is pretty impressive. A lot of other publishers and developers would simply drop support for the previous game shortly after the new one comes out. Even with other Halo games, it's unlikely we'll ever see any new content or updates for Halo 5, for example, despite it being newer than MCC. There's still a lot of new content and mod tools coming out in the future for MCC, and 343 has undeniably done a great job with improving MCC and making it into a game that the community really enjoys. But because Halo Infinite is Microsoft's main focus right now, that probably means MCC's days are numbered as far as future support and new content goes. That is, unless Microsoft sees good reason or incentive, financial incentive, to keep MCC support going, just like they did the first time with fixing MCC and bringing reach to MCC, compared to further new content for Halo 5. The truth is, microtransactions have been a blight on video games for a while now, but the reality is that these proposed microtransactions for MCC could very well be an incentive for Microsoft to continue greenlighting further development of MCC. We could get like a whole new seasons, whole new content, whole new features, who knows? And if the microtransactions are done right, in a way that's not coercive, they could entirely be non-intrusive and completely optional for players. And I feel like that'd be pretty reasonable. Of course, regardless of their intentions, this all certainly seems like 343 and Microsoft are just, people are saying that they're just trying to milk MCC for more money to turn Halo MCC into Halo Infinite. The initial optics of this definitely don't look good at first glance, and the community response on Twitter and Reddit haven't been very great with this. Not to mention, coming from Halo Infinite, people just are weary of that. And not to mention the fact that MCC is a paid game, and having microtransactions in a fully paid game just makes it worse, and it's kind of controversial. But it's important to remember that 343 has made it clear that these microtransactions are purely optional. You won't get any extra exclusive content by buying these. At least that's what it sounds like. I know whenever there's like a debate about Halo Infinite's store and Battle Pass system, it can get quite inflammatory. oftentimes it can end up with each side just dismissing the other side by saying things like, oh, you're just part of the problem, or the store is fine, just don't buy anything. In the case of the latter argument, it's actually kind of true for what 343 has described so far of what they have planned for MCC, that you really don't have to buy extra Spartan points if you don't want to. On Halo Infinite, if you just don't buy anything from the store, or even the premium battle pass, you'll miss out on a lot of content, since a lot of it is impossible to unlock without spending money. But on MCC, even with these microtransactions, everything should still be available to unlock without spending a single penny, assuming 343 keeps the same system. So it's definitely going to be very important for 343 to make sure that that remains the case, that it keep the same system in place, that they don't have anything locked behind the premium paywall, and that everyone is aware and understands that these microtransactions are optional as well. So I know on the surface, MCC potentially getting microtransactions can sound like a terrible idea and just a cash grab attempt by Microsoft, especially considering it's a paid game and not a free-to-play game like Halo Infinite. But at least with the way 343 explained it currently, it's really not as bad as it sounds if it's done right. In fact, if 343 considers or implements a lot of the things I mentioned earlier, these microtransactions could be completely unnoticeable for most players. As long as 343 can make it clear that these microtransactions are just a way to offer new players a shortcut and not a new way purely to monetize MCC, then I think it's something that everyone can be happy with. And it potentially could be something that can help convince Microsoft to keep MCC development going longer. So I know this is currently a heated topic right now in the community, but hopefully this video has cleared up any misconceptions about what 343 has said so far about their potential plans to implement microtransactions MCC. But like I said, it's just something they're thinking about right now according to their post, so nothing is final yet. It's possible they might even end up implementing the idea at all. But if they do, it's important that everyone provides feedback and suggestions to make sure this is a system that works for everyone and is fair too. I mean, from the sounds of it, it's going to be a pretty straightforward and simple system, but still, it'd probably be helpful to get in like a bunch of feedback on it as well. So with that in mind, if you have any ideas or suggestions for that, feel free to mention in the comments down below. Maybe we can get some awareness going for that. But I'm definitely very curious to hear everyone's thoughts on this as well. Has this cleared things up for you, changed your mind perhaps, or your opinion on it? Or do you still believe that under no circumstances should MCC have microtransactions, no matter the intention? Let me know in the comments down below. But aside from that, hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it to be informative. You know, as always, if you did, then make sure to leave a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, guys.